I'ma get into it.
Welcome back. Another episode from the Critics Collective. Today we're going to talk about a WWE documentary that you can catch for free 99 on YouTube. It's on the WWE Vault. I give you a hint. I try to give hints whenever I can. And if you didn't get that hint, respectfully, no, it's a different time, but I got another hint for you. Another hint would be you can go ahead and hit the follow, subscribe button, like, comment, share, and we would greatly appreciate. And there's nothing you can do about it. Still didn't get it? If I put a 3 up, if I sit there and say, D-Von, get the... Yeah, that's right. We're going to get in with the Dudley Boys. This is going to be called Straight Out of Dudleyville. It's the legacy of the Dudley Boys. And I think that's a interesting name for this title. I'll go into more detail. But before I do, early 2000 wrestling, or maybe you're part of the clique that is the ECW. ECW. Holy shit. Holy. Anyways, go to the WWE shop. You can find stuff that kind of brings you back to memory lane. Go ahead and click on the link in the description. We get a little kickback for it. They let the people know in the WWE department to say, hey, listen, this channel's got some pretty cool cats, some pretty cool cats. And tell them Mr. Showtime sent you. Now, moving on from that, this documentary is basically about 2.5 hours. I think it didn't feel as long as I was thinking it was. Don't get me wrong. Okay, I'll give you an example. I won't say 2.5 hours. I would say this is, because it's not here on the website. I think it was like an hour and 20 minutes, something like that. Point blank, when I got to the 45-minute mark, I always start with the lows and then work my way up to the high. That's what we do. I'm going to talk the lows, the highs, and we'll get into rating this. The lows for this could have ended at about the 45, if not the 50-minute mark. And I was like, man, this is good. This is really good. To the point that I was like, wait, this is too good. Let me see how much time is left. You hit the button to see how much is left in the episode of the movie, and that might let you know kind of what you're in for. When I hit the button for this one, I was like, I felt like you gave too much time on the clock for Dan Marino or Peyton Manning or someone. And I was just like Warren Moon, or it's just you gave too much time on the clock. And I was like, we'll see how they piece that together. I thought it should have been shorter. And you normally don't hear me say that with documentaries, but I felt like they gave you everything you needed out of this one. And that's really the only bad thing I would say about it. Maybe, just maybe, to talk about what they did more in their off time in between the gaps. But I felt like they answered that. They said, hey, look, they opened a wrestling school. They've been doing that. They spent time with their family. They've been doing that. Bubba's been doing podcasts and stuff like that and behind the scenes and been active with the WWE for a while. So I felt like they answered all that. I think that was just me being greedy. Let's be honest. I just want to be greedy. If I talk about the good stuff in it, it was a great time to see Rhino, RVD. Got a chance to see him in the interview. Joey Styles, man, the voice of Joey Styles. Tommy Dreamer, Road Dogg, Lance, great technical wrestler. I don't think he gets all his roses. Taz. So it was really good to see those wrestlers in the interview and so many more. I thought that was cool. South Philly, ECW, got a chance to see that. You can hear the commentary when they were saying, I think it wasn't Jim Ross. It might have been the King saying ECW. They were just saying crappy wrestling. And I thought that was crazy. I didn't watch ECW when it first started. I wasn't allowed to, really. And to me, that kind of wrestling, the only way I can get it was I had friends that would have it recorded, or you had to go to a video store. Yeah, video store. Hollywood Video, Blockbuster Video, something like that. And you need to get like the VCR tapes. And that's how we watched a lot. It's the same thing with wrestling in general. It's just like somebody had it recorded, or maybe they were recorded. Like if it was a pay-per-view, you had to watch it through the weird screen. And you're like, I think that's New Jack City. And so that's what you got off of that. So I didn't get a chance to see them. So it was cool to hear how they came together. And I do remember Spike Dudley. he was the small one that was just getting thrown around, but he also had a pretty cool finishing move that he did. And then Sign Dudley. I do remember Sign Dudley, especially the part where he was being a manager. So it was cool to be like, oh, I do remember that. And I thought I was crazy, kind of like Dunk the Clown situation. I thought I was losing my mind when I was like, wait a minute, wasn't there a bunch of Dudleys? Wasn't there a story about the Dudley dad, Dudley Sr., which is I've got hoes. I got hoes in different area. Johnny Appleseed is what they'll call him in the streets, but they actually confirmed that. And I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was interesting because they brought up the APA and the Public Enemy situation. If you don't know the story, I'll tell it because I love telling it in a brief way. APA was doing a match against Public Enemy, who just came from WCW or ECW, was supposed to do a spot for a table, and they're notorious for using the table. That's like their D-Von get the table, you know what I mean? And they didn't want to play nice. And right before they changed it up. And so basically APA goes off script and beats their ass. Now I remember watching that match. I think it was on Raw. Watching that match and saying to myself, hey, this looks like a different match. This looked different. This looked like this shit hurts. Sometimes you'll see a match like, that shit hurts. But then you'll be like, but they're trained. This was like, they're trained. Somebody fighting. They fighting. And it's cool to hear that years later on the APA documentary and on this one. So it was interesting seeing that one. But they went a little further. They talked about their matches with the Hardys. And I thought that was cool. They went into that. I thought it was cool to see them give love and conversation to not just the Hardys, but also Christian and Edge and other tag teams that were popping off at that moment and that time. Now, they do mention some of the top matches and the fact that they basically, and I believe they put the stamp on the tables match. I remember playing in video games where it was the table match, and I would say if there's anybody who put it to that pedestal, it would have been the Dudley Boys, what they're saying and just kind of where they were going. In a hardcore way when it came to the early 2000s wrestling. They mentioned the SummerSlam match, the TLC. That was a fucking epic match. If you play video games, man, you really didn't care to win. You just wanted the havoc and no energy bars. And whoever won after that, you were just as fucking fatigued as the legends that were in that ring. WrestleMania 20, they go ahead and talk about WrestleMania 20. I thought that was cool. Now, for the SummerSlam or the WrestleMania 20 match, they basically said, hey, for WrestleMania 20, we stole the show. It was, we did it. I think that was the match. If it wasn't that one, then I'm getting confused with WrestleMania 17. It might have been WrestleMania 17. And they're like, hey, we had an opportunity to do TLC 2, and we did it, and we stole the show. Now, it was a hell of a match. Both TLC matches, if you haven't watched them, go watch them. They were setting the mother effing bar. If you thought Bret Hart and I think it was it Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels that did the ladder match before Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels, point blank, both those ladder matches, unless it was Bret and Shawn for the cage match, point blank, they set the bar for that, if that makes sense. These individuals, these three teams, set the bar for the tables, ladders, and chairs match and just took it to a whole nother level. That's what I'm getting at. If I could, for WrestleMania 17, it was Kurt versus Y2J and Chris Benoit. Yeah, that's my note said. And I think on that one, Kurt loses the belt. The other two win because there's two belts on the line, and he never got pinned. I still think that was, to me, right there on the like just a hair better than that tables and ladders and chairs match. No shade, just they said it was the best on the card. I'm a different kind of fan. I like that match. It is what it is. Now, is it the best stole the show WrestleMania match? No, I would probably put Bianca and Sasha at the WrestleMania in that one. I would even put Diesel versus Shawn Michaels. Go check that match out if you haven't got a chance. There's a WrestleMania. I think that's what I'm getting confused with. I think it's WrestleMania 17 and WrestleMania 17. Help me out in the chats, but it was Shawn Michaels versus Diesel. They weren't even the headline. I think the headline was Bam Bam Bigelow and LT. and they do that match. Oh my gosh, that's such a good match, especially if you know that Diesel isn't that technical in the ring, and Shawn was doing it. And so that'll be that match there. It was really cool to be like, I guess the message from D-Von was, hey, not everybody believes in what you do. And we can agree to that, whether at work or personal life, whatever the case. Not everyone believes in what you do until you do it. And they talked about that. They talked about their love and their passion for the sport. And they want to keep that old school feel, knowing that the new school is doing what the new school does. So I thought it was cool. A lot of nostalgic. Those damn Dudleys. Talked about the finishing move. When they put you through the table and you get that 3D, the Dudley death drop. I'm saying it correctly. It was a crazy move to watch someone do that. They talked about being the best tag team champion ever. Put in the comments who you think the best tag team champion is ever. And as I was watching, I made a list. I put Harlem Heat, the New Day, the Dudleys, the Hardys, Edge, and Christian, Captain Charisma, and Road Dogg, Jesse James, and Badass Billy Gunn, just to name some of them. But put in the comments who you rolling with. I'm trying to look at my list to see if I forget anything. I like I said, I like the fact that there was so much in this that I really enjoyed. And yeah, that's it. So let's rate this. Now, we rate things from a 5 to a 0. 0 being blah, horrible, and a 5 being excellent. There's some numbers in between. You fill it in, you figure out what you like. Now, for me, before I give you my rating, like I said, check in the description. It's got information in there if you want to know what gear we're maybe using, or you just want to stop by the WWE shop and you want to pick out some really cool clothes and get, you just want to drip, as the kids would say, in some WWE gear. Go ahead and click that. Now, what I will say after you hit the subscribe button is I'm going to give this a 4. I almost gave this a 5. The quality is there. There was so much I learned about these two men and their life in professional wrestling. There was one thing that really grabbed me where I was like, I knew it. I can't wait to tell people this. Like, I mean, at least people that know me for this. I always thought D-Von was more technical because you know how, like I said, if you watch the APA, they're both brawlers, but they kind of have a different style of how they were brawlers. In this, I always knew that Bubba was the brawler. And to me, I felt like D just had a certain technical, like his move sets just seemed closer to Shawn Michaels than it did of a Kevin Nash, if I could just kind of keep the tone of where I'm going with tag teams and stuff like that. And so it was cool to get that. So that's what I would say. That's my rating there. It was a little too long, and that's where it lost that steam towards the end. Had it been short, man, you're looking at a 5, but I still would go ahead and tell you, check this out. Just like I'll tell you, you could have been anywhere in the world and you chose to be here. I appreciate that. Check out one of the videos that we have, the playlist and things like that. Until next time, hit my music.
Said I'ma get into it first. Until they put me in the dirt. Said I'ma get into it first. Said I'ma get into it.